Hello, darling. It's April Mason here, your favorite feminine lifestyle strategist. And I'm here to help you to become a feminine CEO. And the information that we're getting here, you see all this right here? You see all this chocolate?
All right, everybody.
We done blessed us today. Don't give a smile.
Wear your blazers tomorrow.
That's what happens when you get around the feminine energy, honey. That's how it makes men act.
So she's basically saying that you see this man, I can just feel his, She's like, the feminine energy, that's how it makes men act. This is too much. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because she wrote a post, and I'm going to read the post for you. Y'all have been tagging the fool out of me about this conference video. Let me address it and break down the lesson. You see, when you're a divine feminine energy woman, not just look feminine or only exude sexual energy, this type of reaction from men is nothing new to you. It's what happens in your day-to-day. Maybe not this up close and personal, but it happens everywhere you go. After Rich Forever, I guess that's Rick Ross, posted this, question and comments started rolling in from radio stations. Comments on my social media platforms either warning me about him or asking me what my experience was with the biggest boss in capital letters. First, let me say this. I don't know any of his music or lifestyle. My introduction to him came from business, not his music. There's just so much to say about this. Listen, you don't have to know his music. Like if you're talking about being in your divine feminine energy, you can feel bad energy when it's near you. Rick Ross has songs about date, capital R word, where he's talking about giving women mollies. I covered this video about 10 years ago when he lost his Reebok endorsements and all of that. So it's like you claim to be in this space and you claim to be about women, but you don't advocate when rappers are rapping about SAing women. So basically the lyric was,
Put Molly in her champagne. She ain't even know it. I took her home and enjoyed that. She ain't even know it. If you have intercourse with a person who is passed out, they did not give consent.
The disgusting lyric. People like him have a lot of preferences and white girls inside of their videos. So when they say things like that, because if they were just talking about big booty bees that were black and this, that, and the other, I don't know if it would have gotten as big a national attention as it did, but it got national attention. So much so that I didn't know his music, but 10 years ago, I covered it in a video. And she's trying to say that this is what happens when this is the feminine energy that you exude. No, your divine feminine energy rebuffs and repels people like this from wanting to come up to you in the first place. Like your divine feminine energy will protect you enough to be like, I don't know what type of business, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing with a person like this, but even being seen in a video with him is a bad look. That divine feminine energy, like when you're in alignment with divinity and goddess, you're going to feel something in your spirit. You would have to ignore that. It has nothing to do with femininity. It has to do with you being a human being and coming into contact with a person whose chakras are all out of balance and who just got negative energy just dripping off of them. But she's trying to make it seem, I guess maybe she's trying to sell some femininity stuff so that you could be like, oh, let me make sure that I got this femininity course or whatnot so that when all is said and done, and now I could get even bad men to act right around me. Anybody can act right for a little bit of time. What work have they done internally to create the shifts and changes inside of them to make them a decent, upstanding human being? Anybody could sit there and behave for a few moments until they got the molly in your drink, or until they tricked you enough or tricked on you enough, or until they got you where they want you. Now they punching you in your pregnant belly. And I'm not even joking or trying to be funny about that. But a lot of these people, they wait until they got you where they want you. And then the next thing you know, now all bets are off because everybody know how to act right for a little bit of time. And then to try to posit it if divine feminine energy got this man to act right, and that's the way they act when you divine and in your feminine, and not just pantomime feminine, just looking feminine or exuding sexual energy or whatever. You don't have to exude sexual energy for a predator to come up to you. I mean, these predators are bashing nuns over the head. Let me go on and finish reading. How he treated me? Well, when you present yourself as a lady, you're treated as such. His energy towards me was very sincere, gentle, protective. intrigued, and endearing, not lustful or sexual at all. Ladies, you must know the difference. I mean, this is a man who still navigates in the world. If he knows how to interact with men and police and bankers and stuff, of course he knows how to turn it off. But what does that have to do with victimizing people? What does that have to do with degrading lyrics? What does that have to do with the type of human being that he has chosen to be and the poison that he peddles to our community and to the children? What does that have to do with any of that? This is unbelievable, and I can't even believe what I'm reading. FYI, upon meeting you, a man knows what category he will put you in. Men know how to approach you based off of what you're presenting and your energy. Men will meet you exactly where you are. This is why having self-love, standards, self-respect, and confidence is so essential. You're talking a good game. Men are not these super intuitive beings. Men punish women for being and looking sexual, not because that's what your worth is or isn't, but because that's how he feels about himself. And the self-love lesson here is for men, not for women, so that if you love yourself enough, that no fuckery would ever come near you. I can't even believe what it is that I'm reading, especially as a self-love specialist myself. We talk about self-love on this channel. And we talk about accountability for what it is that we allow in our lives. You can't help how people approach you. What you can control is who you keep in your life. And as a matter of fucking fact, let me tell you this. When I lived in Harlem, I lived in this popular area, right? Not far from Central Park, but in the black part of Harlem. And there were always men, black men and young black men and boys hanging out on the stoops, doing all types of goodness knows what. One day I was afraid to walk to a meetup that I was having, and I wore this shirt that was unbuttoned down beneath my bosom, and I had my breast pushed up in between so that it was just pure cleavage. And I had on this pencil skirt, pinstripe, tight as can be, and it wasn't tight enough, so I had to sew it to make it tighter. I had on 6-inch cherry red patent leather shiny inch heels. And I was a little apprehensive about walking out there in Harlem looking and exuding such sexuality. When I tell you that no one catcalled me, not a motherfucker catcalled your girl, not one. Trudy, big booty, Judy walking down the block. Right. No one had anything to say. So it's not your sexuality. As a matter of fact, you can look so sexy. They got no words for you. They humble themselves and they close their doggone mouths. It's not your sexuality that makes them act up. It is them. Whatever it is that is going on in their mind about how they perceive your sexuality. And that is not on you. We live in a patriarchy, a sexist patriarchy in which men decide that in their mind they will assign some sort of worth onto you based on their value system and some system that is ingrained in them from society. You could go out in certain countries with your ankle showing and a person will get a wooden stick and beat you to cover up your leg. So no, how it is that you are approached and how it is that people step to you has nothing to do with your actual worth and what it is that you are actually exuding, but their perception thereof. But approach you, they will, because the raggediest of them all got no filter. It's happened to all of us. Nonetheless, let me finish up this post so that we can go forward and go on with ourselves. She says, this is why having self-love, standards, self-respect, and confidence is so essential. All right. In this video, men saw something completely different than women. Women had a lot of hate, but men noticed something I didn't even notice. At the conference, some Wall Street trapper came up to me to tell me how much he loved my speech. He also said something very interesting. His words, "Queen, I saw you on Ross's story, but I must say, the way you leaned back into him, ooh wee." I had to think about it because I didn't know what he was talking about. After rewatching it, I figured out what he and other men who made similar comments saw. You see, when the feminine energy feels protected, what? When the what? When the feminine energy feels protected, ugh, I know I didn't just read that. When the feminine energy feels protected, seen, heard, and provided for, your natural body reaction is to be receptive and surrender. This is because masculine energy is present and you can lean back and flow in your feminine essence. I know for good and goddamn well I didn't just read what I thought I read. I know I didn't read that. No, the hell I didn't. So she felt protected in the presence of a predator? Her feminine energy was able to open up and surrender to him? What? Let us watch this thing one more time. Let's see this. I'm sorry, I can't no more. And then at the end of it, she's selling her course about how to. I'm sorry for all the people out there who has a phobia to regurgitation sounds or thoughts.
Be a part of the live show with thousands of other viewers. Go to TonyaTKO.com/text and join the text notification squad and get a text whenever I go live. Support the show and yourself, and I'll see you on the next live broadcast.